Hi Aries, I'm here with your love reading, okay? Welcome, thanks for joining me, I hope you're good. Also check your sun, moon and rising signs, and also this can be for cross watchers as well. This is a general reading, general messages, okay? Take what resonates, it won't resonate with everyone, okay? Okay, so what are the love messages for Aries? What are the love messages for Aries? Love messages for Aries, love messages for Aries, woo! Okay, Knight of Wands, Four of Wands, could be dealing with a Leo, Aries or a Sagittarius, fire sign. Somebody could be in another relationship, another commitment. Or there's a new person coming in, passionate, fiery. I do get a sense of someone that likes to travel in and out, in and out. Maybe someone's coming in to offer you commitment, a new relationship. Could be dealing with a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Okay, Temperance, could be dealing with a Sagittarius. Again, fire energy. Any more please? Got the Chariot, Cancer energy. Knight of Cups, yeah, definitely got a water sign coming towards you. Could be, you could be dealing with an old person and a new person, or they could both be the same person. Maybe they've matured, you know. If they had player-like tendencies, maybe they've matured and changed and they're coming in with commitment and stability and a more solid offer, you know. They've got their self in order. Maybe in the past they were driven by desire and impulse. Yeah. Looks like someone here is ready to go. Maybe they're craving the Two of Cups with you, with this Temperance. You know, they're mastering strength and balance. You know, agility, alchemy. You know, they've got something little and they turn it into something beautiful. Look. Yeah. There's a lot of adapting here. Home environments. You know, some of you could be married to your person, could be getting married, getting engaged. There's definitely a water sign coming in here to offer you a new relationship, the Cup of Love. Someone who's very passionate, loving, a bit of a daydreamer. You know, I feel that they're all raring and ready to go. Look, yeah. Then maybe they had to master strength, balance, agility. Look, they had to accommodate to their circumstances. You know, they had to learn, balance things. Okay, tell me more about this Temperance. You could have two new people coming in, and then you're going to have to pick between two people, such as a fire sign and a water sign. Okay. Maybe someone's waiting for a restriction to be lifted so they can come towards travel. You know. Okay. Maybe in the past it went through some sort of painful ending with someone. Okay, Four of Cups, yeah. Someone's going through pain. I think it's to do with what's going on in the world. Someone's bored with this Four of Cups. So we've got Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Yeah, maybe in the past someone went through some sort of pain, some sort of emotional frustration, some sort of emotional turmoil here, some sort of painful ending, some sort of painful cycle has, you know, come to a completion here. You know, someone here could suffer with backaches. You know, Four of Cups is about boredom, frustration, they're fed up, they're discontent. Maybe someone's trying to reach out to someone, but they're ignoring them, they're not having it, you know. Any more, please? Okay. Someone could be walking away from a third party situation, or someone's walking away from someone that's a player, in and out, in and out, in and out. Someone could be struggling here to embrace change, you know, learning to adapt to a new way of life, new way of thinking, you know. Someone's definitely walking away from something. Eight of Cups, could be going on a spiritual journey, might want to go travelling, you know, after the lockdown's been lifted. The Devil, ooh, could be a toxic situation going on here. Or maybe someone's full of fear, doubt, you know, could be an ego problem here. Someone could be quite egotistical. Someone definitely walking away from a toxic situation, you know. Some of you could be dealing with a Capricorn, fellow earth sign. Okay, could be an ego thing, ego death here. Death card, got Scorpio energy. Yeah, it could be an ego death, frightened ego. Or the fact that something is just too toxic and stressful and someone's walking away because they want something better. I feel that they've been balancing this cycle for a long time and it's come to a completion finally. They're walking away. Look, they plucked up the courage and the strength and the stamina to walk away, because someone here felt very sort of bound and restricted and tied down, and they're bored. You know, someone could be going towards something better. I feel that you've got more than one person coming towards you here. It's like something is ending that's bad and toxic, and something new is starting. You know, a bad relationship is ending, and then a beautiful new relationship is blossoming. You know, a restarting of something. And with this Temperance card, someone's really mastering strength, balance, patience. You know, they're learning to adapt to a new way of life, new way of thinking, saying goodbye to an old life, you know, an old chapter. It's scary, isn't it? Embracing change. Tell me about this Devil. Yeah. Told you. Yep. Told you. The Moon. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio energy again. So like I said, someone here is definitely, it's like they were afraid, but it looks like they are doing that finally. You know, even though it was scary and they were scared and there was fear, there's a frightened ego thing going on. It could be an ego death here. You know, that they were arrogant and they weren't accepting someone's offer or help from the universe, you know. So it's like they're seeing past the illusion, seeing past the fear, accepting the inevitable, embracing change. You know, someone could be embracing their spirituality here as well. Maybe in the past they were a bit of a player, maybe they're around someone that's a bit of a player, you know. It's like someone wants to come towards someone with their cup of love, you know, maintaining some sort of balance, some sort of structure, you know. See past the illusion, past the fear. Make a conscious decision. It's like somebody wants to reach out to someone, but they're afraid. Someone is afraid to embrace change, you know, or they're afraid to go it alone. There's some sort of bondage here. Oh, look at that. Third party situation. Wow. Either that or they need to let go of guilt and pain and illusion and, you know, all the fear. It looks like someone's walking away from a toxic third party situation. It looks quite painful as well. The person that they were around looks very toxic, and it's like they weren't having it. Like I said, a bit of a player, could have suffered betrayal, heartache, loss, could have betrayed them with money. You know, maybe he or she wasn't having it when this person tried to walk away. It's like they plucked up the courage to stand their ground, you know, and banish bad things from their life. Look, and walk away. Yeah, Three of Swords, look. See? Someone's walked away from a toxic third party situation. Okay. Someone is definitely going through some sort of spiritual awakening, some sort of transition, some sort of change. It is scary, but they're learning, look, to embrace change. They're learning to adapt to a new way of life, a new way of thinking, saying goodbye to an old self, saying goodbye to an old life. Okay. There is definitely ascension energy here. Okay. But they're learning, look, they're mastering it, balancing it, you know, mastering strength and balance, agility, you know, going with their own judgment, having a wake-up call, having a reality check, you know, saying goodbye, look, to things that don't serve them anymore. They're banishing it from their life, anything that's toxic or that makes you feel like this. Okay, so a toxic third party situation has come to a completion. It served its purpose. This person has walked away. Okay, if they lived with their person, you know, they've walked away. Okay, they're going to pull the swords out, they're going to heal from it. Okay, it looks like they're coming towards you with their cup of love, this love proposal, this romantic offer. Very passionate, like I said, daydreamer. Yeah, big on travelling. Someone could be buying a new car, buying a new house. Also someone here's got a military background. Also someone here's very spiritual, very independent. And like I said, learning a new way of life. They're learning to adapt and embrace change with this Temperance, mastering patience, stamina, agility, you know, testing the waters, strength testing, resilience, you know. There's still a bit of fear that they need to release. You know, they're going into a new cycle, a new chapter, you know, and it's scary for them. So they still need to release a bit of fear, you know, making that judgment call, making a decision, making a choice, you know. It's like they've been reborn, you know, and they want to resurrect a connection with you. Okay. There's a lot of subconscious fears that they need to overcome. Okay. They could still be learning their lessons. They do want to work things out with you. And I do believe that they are saying, have patience, I'm on my way. Okay. 8 of Pentacles. So there's a lot of mastering, you know, they might need to work on self-love. You know, maybe they don't want to be a player anymore, sort of in and out, if this is the case. You know, really wanting to work things out with you. Look, they're very passionate, very dedicated, very hardworking. Could be someone that's in charge of their own business. You know, saying goodbye to an old life is hard. Saying goodbye to an old self is hard. You know, there's definite ascension energy here. You know, this new way of life, this new way of thinking, learning to adapt. They're mastering that, okay? Strength and balance. They're mastering that, okay? Embracing change is hard, you know. Learning a new way of life is hard, but they're learning that. Learning to adapt. They're mastering patience here as well. Yeah, someone's definitely embracing change, fulfilling their destiny, fulfilling their destiny, you know, accepting that you are twin flames. You know, they want to come back together with you, you know. It's like that cycle has ended. It's time to say goodbye and start new, start afresh here. Okay, this is their destiny. It's fated. It's meant to be. You know, someone could be studying. They want to learn more about you. Wheel of Fortune. You know, they've been given a second chance and they don't want to blow it. So they're working hard. They're focusing. Look, they're focusing their intent, goal achieving. Okay, banishing bad things, walking away from toxic cycles, releasing fear, releasing illusion, you know, coming out of the darkness to talk to you, to open up, to express love, show emotion, you know. And it does look like something came to a very abrupt, painful ending here, you know, but it's good. They've done this, it's good, because now they can embrace the new, you know. They've transitioned, you know. And they could still be going through a transition, changes. Okay, it's all scary, there's a lot of balancing. Look, they're just testing the waters, look. Okay, it's like a puppy that's just been born and they're looking at their surroundings, they're acknowledging their surroundings, getting used to this new way of life, this new environment. You know, it's scary. You know, there's divine intervention here. Okay, guiding them, helping them. Someone here is very spiritual, they're channeling divine energy. You know, you can have a very spiritual connection with someone that is going to come in and offer you this sort of, this, like I said, this love offer, this proposal. They're going to make a correct judgment call here. They're going to heal their heart, okay? Heal any emotional pain, any turmoil, you know, for this beautiful new relationship, okay? I do believe it took them a long time. It took them a long time to master up the courage and the strength, you know, and have that wake-up call to walk away from this situation that looks very toxic, you know. So they're really proud of themselves for doing that. And I do believe any inner conflict that they've got going on with themselves, you know, this sort of battle that they're creating, they need to sort that out as well, and they're working on that. Look, you know, this person's very dedicated. It could be you, focusing on finances, working on self-love, structure, stability, balance, working on projects, you know, career doors, career opportunities, prospects. So we've got the 5 of Wands. So they want to sort this out with you. They want a peaceful resolution. They don't want to fight this anymore, this connection. They're going to resist. They're going to stop resisting change, okay? Because that's what's making them feel stuck and, you know, trapped in fear. I feel this person can't get their words out because I keep stuttering, okay? So they're going to stop fighting their feelings. They're going to stop resisting change. They're going to, you know, surrender. You know, they're learning this new way of life. I'm really tuning into this Temperance card, testing the waters. Also, this is about cycles and phases as well. You know, I've got something small and I can make it into something beautiful, such as a beautiful new relationship. Okay, 5 of Wands, peaceful resolution, no more fighting, no more conflicts, no more rows. You know, if it's not you, it could be your person. Maybe they're rowing with someone in their home environment, you know, so they're learning that they have the power and the resources, you know, to overcome anything. I'm in charge of my own destiny. I have the power. I can do this. You know, I'm the magician. I'm standing strong to manifest this into reality. The connection, you know, tapping into their intuition, tapping into their higher power, mastering knowledge, yeah, being the creator of their destiny, being in charge. I can do this. I have the power, yeah. Starting from the ground up and building, you know, really going within, listening to your voice, going with your own judgment, you know. Beautiful. Quite powerful reading today, powerful messages. So that's what I've got for you, Taurus. Let me know if it resonated, you know, hopefully it did. You know, I hope it was insightful. I hope it helps. If you're new, give me a like, give me a subscribe, join my channel. Also, if you need to know anything, just give me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And yeah, and I'll see you again real soon for some more readings. Peace, love and blessings. Love you all so much.